Secretary LaHood and Senators Reed and Whitehouse, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
Thank you.
Mr. Secretary, we'll start with you. $28 million to beef up rail service here in Rhode Island. Why the Ocean State?
Because of the extraordinary leadership and vision of these two senators that are with me, because of a very good plan, and because we want to connect the Northeast Corridor. We made a decision on this money that the Northeast Corridor would be a priority. We made a decision that we really wanted to make investments in places that we had not made significant investments, and they put together a very good plan. They have a very good vision. The people, the taxpayers of Rhode Island should be very, very happy because this is a good plan, it's a good vision, and it gets Rhode Island into the high-speed rail business.
Mr. Secretary, when you look at the money that is being spread out nationally, most of the money is going to states that are a Democratic stronghold. You have California, you have here in the Northeast, your state of Illinois, Michigan, all big-time winners. These don't exactly represent the conservative heartland. I know you're a Republican, but your boss is not. How do you convince people that politics did not play a role here?
Look, there are no Republican or Democratic railroads. There are no Republican or Democratic bridges. There are no Republican or Democratic roads in America. Transportation is bipartisan. I was very proud yesterday to be in New York to stand with Senator Lautenberg of New Jersey and Senator Schumer of New York, but also then to fly to Michigan and stand with the newly elected Republican governor of Michigan who wants to get in the high-speed rail business. And this is not about partisanship. This is about connecting America to high-speed inner-city rail, which Americans want. And it will put American workers to work, building American railroads for the next generation of Americans. That's what this is about.
Senator Whitehouse, a question for you. The Secretary LaHood is talking about connecting America. Something we'd like to see in Rhode Island is connecting Warwick. The money does not tie the intermodal at TF Green into Amtrak service, something that many here think is essential for that project to be a success. Are you disappointed that that didn't happen?
It's hard to be disappointed when you get $28 million out of a total ask of $31 million. That's kind of an A grade in my estimate. So we are delighted. The Kingston station was becoming a bit of a choke point. So in order to have the extra siding there and to put $25 million worth of Rhode Island work into that station is wonderful. And the $3 million in upgrades for the Providence station and in engineering planning for it is also great news. So it's pretty hard to look at this as a bad news day.
That may be true, but certainly you did ask for the money to be tied into the intermodal in Warwick. Senator Reed, what's it going to take to make that move forward?
Well, this was a competitive process, all these requests, and I must first thank the Secretary not only for his support in this endeavor, but so many times we've called upon him. He's been responsive. Last year in the floods, he immediately released the emergency money. He's been an extraordinarily thoughtful and supportive of our efforts. But we're still going to push forward on improvements throughout the rail system in Rhode Island for commuter rail. But I will second what Senator Whitehouse said. In a competitive process, Rhode Island did as well, probably better than any other state in the country. And we'll keep looking for ways to help the project at TF Green Airport. But what we have to recognize is we now have the potential to build on TF Green, the new Wickford station that's coming online at the end of this year, and now we hope Kingston, by the University of Rhode Island, to build a commuter rail which is based upon the MBTA system. We hope also Amtrak will participate, but this is a good news day for the state.
Mr. Secretary, I'm going to switch gears here a little bit. Senator Reed has joined other Senate Democrats in a bill that would scale back on the tax breaks given to big oil companies. The oil companies soaked up, as you know, tens of billions of dollars in profits, but also scored about $4 billion in tax breaks. Let me ask you directly, are big oil companies paying their fair share right now?
Well, that's not really a part of my portfolio. I'll leave that to others in the administration to work on and try and decide what the best path forward is. I have enough things on my plate to deal with, whether it's trains, planes, automobiles, motor coaches, school buses, and we don't have any shortage of things to do. That's not one of them, however.
Well, the transportation aspect of highways and roads, of course, do involve cars. Are you concerned about the massive increase in per gallon that we're paying, particularly here in the Northeast? And is there anything, as Secretary of Transportation, that can be done to try and stem that tide?
Of course we're concerned about it. We realize that the price of gasoline is the second most expensive item in family budgets, and we know families are hurting all over America. We know that these high gasoline prices are impinging on family budgets. And the President has put out a very strong plan, one of the boldest energy plans that people can remember in a long time. Our responsibility at DOT has been to set gasoline standards, and we've worked with the EPA on that. We've actually raised the standards for 2012 and 2016 and working on raising them beyond 2017. We're also working with the car manufacturers on more battery-powered cars, on more hybrids, on more cars that are fueled by biofuels. So the President gets it. All hands are on deck in this administration in terms of gasoline costs and the problem that they're causing for family budgets, and we're working on it. We're doing everything we can the Secretary of Interior is looking at the possibility of more permits to drill our own oil. The President has instructed all of us, all hands on deck, and we're doing everything we can.
Senator Reed, how about on your end?
And
your
I jump in, Tim, that this rail announcement today is a very important part of that, because having alternatives to putting gas in the car is part of the strategy that Senator Reed has pursued for a long time and that we're pursuing together now.
Well, with you, Senator Reed, your office pointed out that these subsidies come at a time when we're paying, as I mentioned, $4 a gallon in taxes. But is that really a fair comparison? I mean, can you say that making these oil companies pay more in tax revenue is actually going to translate into a lower cost at the pump for the rest of us?
Well, what I think is going to translate into a lower cost at the pump is what Secretary LaHood has said and what Senator Whitehouse has also said. More efficiency in our transportation sector, more reliance and more dependable mass transit, all the things that not only the Secretary of Transportation but the other cabinet members are doing. The issue here with respect to subsidies of the oil companies goes not just to our transportation system but to our fiscal situation. We have to reduce the deficit. We have to come up with a program that lowers the deficit and increases jobs. And part of it is what we've been doing today. There are going to be jobs in Rhode Island because of this transit, as the Secretary has pointed out, and we're going to go after the deficit not just by reducing important programs for middle-income Americans, but going after a sector that has huge profits and huge subsidies. The market works. They can make a great deal of money in the marketplace. They don't need, at this point, the kind of subsidies that we're giving to them. And so this is a combination, and it goes right to the strategy we have to pursue. Increase jobs, reduce the deficit.
But just briefly, to increase the taxes, if you will, or get rid of the tax breaks for gas companies, we should not expect that to translate into a lower per gallon cost, correct?
What I think we'll see, and what the experts are predicting, is lower costs, not as a result of this tax initiative, but as a result of some market forces, the result of a fall off in demand worldwide, a result of many different factors. And one thing that's absolutely critical, and this is something that Senator Whitehouse has been very, very aggressive on, is looking at the speculation in futures markets for gasoline. The President has directed a task force. I think we went ahead and wrote a letter to him weeks ago asking him to start looking at speculation. And we've seen just in the last few days a significant reduction in the per barrel price. That's not just a result of supply and demand. That's a result of people getting out of the market who are just speculating. So all of these things together are going to, we hope, reduce the price of gasoline over the next several months. But again, I can't say better than Secretary LaHood. For working Americans, this is a big, big part of their income. And even at $3.50, it takes a lot out of their ability to provide for their families. So we have to do more. And that's where mass transit, more efficient vehicles, all the things that Secretary LaHood is working on will come in the long run.
Mr. Secretary, speaking of revenue enhancement, Governor Lincoln Chafee, our governor here, is looking into studying the possibility of putting toll booths on Route 95 here in Rhode Island. What are your concerns about turning an interstate into a toll road?
What we have done at the Department of Transportation have looked at proposals where states want to add capacity and use tolls to pay for that. We believe that's a good use of tolls. We do not believe it's a good use of tolls to toll roads that have already been paid for by taxpayers. If a state or a governor or a Department of Transportation wants to add capacity, add a lane or 2 lanes on each side, we think that's a good use of tolls. And we have supported that kind of approach. We don't support the kind of approach, though, roads that have already been built with taxpayer dollars, then to be tolled.
So, from what I'm hearing you, I just want to be crystal clear.
I think I was pretty crystal clear, but if you want me to say it again, I will. I mean, I told you what our position is.
What about using that money for repairs on highways? That sounds like that wouldn't fly from your perspective. You'd want to see lanes added, as you stated.
We support tolling for adding capacity to roads.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Secretary. Back to the TF Green, back to the rail. I'm wondering, from your perspective, what are the chances of getting Amtrak tied in over there, and how would we make that happen? Are we going to see another bite at that apple?
Look, Amtrak is very anxious to become partners with states that want to partner with them. Amtrak has been in the passenger rail business for a long time. I think over the last year, Amtrak actually made money. Ridership is up because they've gotten it. They know that they have to provide good service, on-time service. They've been doing that. That's why I believe ridership is up on the Northeast Corridor. I don't think anybody will have any trouble convincing Amtrak to become partners if states want to do that.
Mr. Secretary, with Amtrak, Senator Schumer, and you were next to him yesterday in New York when he said it wants to see a no-ride list like the airlines have a no-fly list. How do you feel about that?
I took the train from Washington to New York Sunday night, and it was very safe. What I say to people is taking trains is very safe, and using passenger rail is very safe. What I said at the press conference is we will work with any senator on any proposal. We need to be able to see good research and good data and good information that the kind of safety measures that Amtrak has in place now by using dogs that come on the trains at every stop, and these dogs are well trained to look for explosives, to smell explosives. Amtrak also has a system where they have a manifest with the names of people who board trains. They can check that list. But look, if we need to do other things to make traveling on passenger trains safer, we're not against that. So we'll work with any senator who wants to make safety a priority. Taking a train today is safe. I did it. I just did it Sunday night.
Mr. Secretary, Senator Reed, Senator Whitehouse, we are out of time. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today.
Good to be with you, Tim.
Thank you.